Hi
guys.
guys,
Welcome back to our channel. If you don't know who we are, we're Mumford's Store Duo. I'm Sue,
and I'm Mel.
and yeah, as you can see by today's video, it's a little bit more of like a update. We did put a little bit of an update in that Rose concert vlog, but if you didn't see it, but if you didn't see it, we'll quickly go on to what happened that day, because I was meant to have a hospital appointment that day. That you did see a bit when I was getting ready, but then things went entirely wrong on that day. Which, looking back on it now, and I think you agree, we should have cancelled the appointment and got it moved. How everything went wrong.
Three things.
Because things
went.
Yeah.
Then it was another one with train, because we had to change train when we got to a certain place.
And then like it just got worse. And then when we got into London, it got 10 times more worse.
Yeah.
So looking back on it now, we should have actually, got the appointment moved to a different day and just spent the day up in London.
And with a slight confusion with me, because Guy's Hospital in London, because it's one of the specialist ones, I thought it was that hospital you needed to go to. No,
it's a different hospital.
It's a different one, but they're all sort of like in the similar area.
We found out that they're all linked
in like a triangle.
So like St. Guy's, St. Thomas's, and
not St. Guy's. It's just
Guy's, St. Thomas's, and the King's
College.
That one are all linked. They're all in the same place, but they're in a triangle. Is what we found out, which I didn't know. So we went to the completely wrong hospital.
We was at the wrong station to start with. Because as far as we knew, it was originally London Bridge.
Yeah.
But because we couldn't get the train to London Bridge that day,
we ended up going to Charing Cross. But when you think
if something happened to it, because it cut off.
Yeah.
At London Bridge, but when it came up for London Bridge, it also said Lewisham. So I said to Susan, London Bridge in effect is quicker. To go to.
So we got off.
So we got off at Lewisham to connect us to London Bridge.
Yeah.
Because we was having a problem with trying to get to London Bridge. Yeah. Of all the days.
So we got onto Lewisham, and then we got off at London Bridge. And
then to find out that London Bridge was the actual incorrect one to have gone to, because that's only Guy's now. We needed to get off at Waterloo.
Yep. Just.
I mean, it's only like 5-10 minutes, but the problem is when you've got to one part and then you've got to think, get another extra 5-10 minutes.
So bearing in mind, when you think about it, we was like on this side, and then the hospital is like on the other side.
Yeah.
And
that was diabolical.
Yeah. And we didn't have enough time to get from here to the other side, basically.
But also there was another funny thing. Susan has a helper she goes to places with. Because she has social anxieties and stuff like that, and they did a day trip to London.
Oh yeah, and I came across the hospital, and I said to her like, "Oh my god, that's the hospital I've got to probably go to when I have to have like the consultation or stuff like that."
Yeah.
And she's like, "Oh yeah, well at least you now know where it is." But then, I don't know what happened.
Well, basically the communication, because as far as I knew, Guy's was next to St Thomas's, but King's College Hospital wasn't really anywhere near it. But we've just found out that they've all combined together, and they're like on a trust. It's like Guy's,
it's like
St
Thomas's,
King's Trust hospitals now.
Yeah.
So now they're quite close to each other because they're bigger hospitals, and it was like
we went to the wrong one.
It's a confusion completely.
Went to the wrong one, complete wrong hospital, which was just a nightmare.
And then it was even worse being at the wrong hospital to find out when we was there, because we spent
half an hour walking around this freaking hospital trying to find like the department I'm meant to be in,
and all we could see was walls.
Yeah.
And like it was terrible. And then I have high blood pressure.
Oh god.
I forgot to take my tablet because I was worried about getting to our appointment. So much to the clock.
She was like 2 hours late.
I nearly crashed.
And then like there's me going like, "I'm so sorry, Mum, this is my fault. Dragging you up the freaking hospital. knowing the fact like she has like health conditions herself, but the problem is like we don't have any other person that can technically take me to these hospital appointments because it's just us.
Yeah.
So that's why she has to help.
Yeah.
Yeah, because me being lost in London on my own wouldn't be a good thing.
No.
I don't think I could handle it, to be honest.
Basically, missing the appointment was the first thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, because 2 trains, then they're missing the hospital appointment.
Yeah, so then what we did, like, the hospital rang the other hospital that I was meant to be going to. They found out what happened, and
they were going to rebook it for her.
Yeah, they were going to rebook it.
But we hadn't heard anything.
No, but that day we spent up in London. We made it into a fun day, even though with all the trauma and everything we went through that day was horrible.
Yeah.
Another thing that happened is going back home that day. We thought, you know what, trains would be sorted by the time we get home.
No.
Because our line was okay, but the Dartford line got affected. So you had the Dartford people having to jump onto our train.
It was packed solid.
It was just a nightmare. So at the same time, I'm saying to my mum, like, Mum, are we going to get home? Bearing in mind...
There's one even funnier, wasn't it? Because when we was at London Bridge on one of them, we couldn't get on the train because it was packed solid.
Yeah, so we
jumped
off.
Susan, we need to go up to Charing Cross
just to come back down.
Because otherwise we'd be staying for quite a bit.
Exactly. And I said to my mum, like, are we going to get home in time? Bearing in mind, the next day we had that roast concert the next day that you would have seen in the vlog. And I was having in the views, if we're going to get stuck in London, it's going to be a good thing because we have got the concert the next day, funny enough. But the problem is we have a dog, which you would have seen
Can't leave him overnight on his own.
No, it is not advisable. So we was just like, we need to get home, like, as soon as.
So I just said to Susan, I'll tell you one way of doing it, but you ain't going to like it. And she said, what do you mean by that? I said, well, we've got to go up rather than come down.
Yeah, bearing in mind my hips were in chronic pain from walking around that freaking hospital for half an hour.
Yeah.
I probably should have actually asked the staff there if I could, like, have a good, like, hour rest before I have to go.
Exactly.
Because my hips were, like, chronic pain. So, because, like, when Mum said that, I was just like, no, my hips are so painful. But,
because we was in the rush hour.
Yeah,
because all the
because
commuters leaving.
My hospital appointment time, what was it? About 10 to 4, wasn't it?
Yeah,
something
10
like
to
that?
4.
10 to 4. And
by the time we got away from the hospital, other than all the confusion, it was about 5 o'clock
or coming up 6 o'clock.
Between 5 and 6, basically.
Because when we got home, we didn't get home until like
7,
8 o'clock, which we should have been home way before then, which just proved everything went so wrong.
But I said, Susan, it's no good waiting here at London Bridge for the next train because it's still going to be packed.
Because we had to let one go past.
It is sort of like a fact with up there. It's you can get on at Charing Cross because it's the last stop.
It's the first stop, basically. As well, yeah.
But if you're hoping to get on at London Bridge,
you got
most
no hope.
of the time it's very dodgy because it always gets really packed.
Yeah, because it's like what my mum said, it's rush hour for one as well. And yeah, exactly. So it was about 2 weeks after that appointment. We still haven't even heard anything back from the hospital, which I thought was absolutely disgusting. Because the nurses up in that hospital did call them.
Yes.
And the hospital understood what problems we had, and they was like, yeah, that's fine, they can reschedule us.
They've obviously forgotten.
Yeah, so, which I thought was so wrong. So then I rang them the other day, right? Called them, told the guy exactly what happened, and apparently I was discharged because I missed my appointment because I didn't cancel it, even though the hospital I went to contacted them.
And they were aware of it.
But it weren't on the records.
No.
Which I thought was bad. Because the hospital did contact them, which the best people to contact is a hospital, which then that just proves you was there, you was physically there, but just in the wrong place.
Yeah. The guy on the other end was
Yeah, the
good
guy on the other end was so
when you
lovely.
explained it.
Told him what happened, and he said, "Okay, let me put you on hold, and I'll get back to you and see what he can do." He came back, and I had managed to get another hospital appointment, which is this week. I can't tell you the date because this is going up like today, of course, but can't really tell you.
No.
But yeah, this time it's at 3:30, so it's only just a little bit more earlier than what
20
last
minutes.
one was.
Yeah.
So let's hope, fingers crossed, this time nothing goes wrong.
Ben.
I mean, like trains
No.
as well.
Mm.
That's what I mean as well, but fingers crossed. So we got that. You should then hopefully get an update in a future video on what's going to
The
happen.
outcome of everything. Yeah.
Yeah, and
I'm still waiting for my referral to a London hospital possibility.
yeah, because if you guys, like I said, didn't watch the Rose vlog that had a little like mini update, do you want to tell them what's happened to you, just in case they haven't seen that video?
Yeah, well, briefly, 20 years ago or more, I damaged the lower part of my spine. 4 out of the 5 discs down there are prolapsed permanently, so I suffer with them constantly, trapping nerves and things like that. Well, only to find out that up towards your neck area, there's apparently 7 spinal column bones that each have discs. To find out that from the MRI scan, 3 of them have prolapsed
In her neck.
Yeah,
Which is...
so because last year I was in complete agony on my right side. I lost the mobility of it. I couldn't do anything, couldn't reach the shelves, couldn't pick up anything off the floor because the pain was so excruciating. It just, I cried, didn't I, a couple of times because it was so painful.
Exactly.
So then eventually it did subside.
But
and
then...
I managed to get the appointment, and it basically
Yeah, because she had an MRI.
released.
And that's how she found out.
And then where they thought I had carpal tunnel, I was sent up to King's, and I had this like electric activity.
It's like a pulse thing. It goes on your pulse.
And checks the nerves that cause carpal tunnel, and apparently I don't have that. And
yeah, because the guy was like, "I'm not buying this like
No.
carpal tunnel business," because
he went straight to the nerve.
yeah, because
that
every
causes
nerve,
the carpal.
yeah, because every nerve it responded so quickly, which hers did.
Yes.
So
There wasn't any disconnection there because he said you wouldn't be feeling it.
no, exactly.
So it was just really fit to know that that's not a problem, but it's further up. But also I said to him, would it be because I had an accident and broke the T12? And he went, no, nothing to do with it. He said
It can just develop over time.
Yeah, so
It's basically similar to my condition with my hips. Is that some people are born with it, but then some people it develops at the age of 5, and then it just gets worse and worse as like the child grows, which obviously happened to you. It obviously happened into your adulthood, and it started to get worse and worse and worse.
Mine, it started with my feet as a child.
But the guy did say the ones in her neck, they can go down by themselves, but most of the time, not always.
No, but they are the worst ones because I can cope with the lower spine.
And your middle back, I think you said.
But I'm having trouble with the T12 that I smashed. And then, of course, those 3.
But I think seeing you with the neck ones have been
was the worst.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it takes out the whole shot. And then just getting over that one started because the pain doesn't just go in the shoulder blades, it's
all
right
the way
under
up.
the bottom half of it. And I basically could not lift my arm to do anything.
No. Whereas at the moment she is a little bit more
better
at the moment because she's actually resting a lot more. We're not doing like too much.
But I'm having to hold mine back anyway because Susie's one surgery is definitely needed.
Yeah,
I know she's a lot younger, but what they're saying is
I've got an age limit, and my age limit is 30, and at the moment I'm 26, which isn't long because when you get to adulthood, time goes so fast, and I think a lot of you will agree that
Surgery
soon.
becomes trickier as you get older anyway.
Yeah, and I've been told that if I don't have this like minor op on my hips now, that in the future, by the time I'm 50, I will be ending up for hip replacement.
Yeah.
And being told that when you're still in your 20s is so scary. So that's why I'm in for this surgery, is to stop me. But it doesn't stop me completely from having to have hip replacement, because
No.
at the age of 75 is when I'll get one.
Prolongs it by 10, 15, maybe 20 years if you're lucky.
Exactly. But we don't know yet if that's still the same circumstances, because I've actually got, back then we only knew it was pincer. But I've actually got the other two conditions.
And it's one of the main one basically. It's not tear, it's the
reversible
dysplasia. It's known as a bone dysplasia. And looking back to being in the bloodline or whatever, I think it is, but I think it's on my side more, because our first baby had chronic dysplasia, and I had to have a termination quite a while ago, and that was awful to go through. And then I ended up with a smear test, produced cancer cells, so I had to have my womb.
Yeah, so we definitely say it's like in the hereditary, the genes. So this is why, like, when I have kids of my own, I will make sure they get checked out for everything that I've been through.
Yeah.
And mum's problems that she's had, just so we're clear on what my future kids could be like.
Because when I think back to when I was a child, my feet were always a problem for walking. I used to get told off several times. Get on your feet and walk. You've got feet of your own to walk with. But they didn't understand. I was just painful and uncomfortable. It wasn't until later years when they started to show that I was having problems. And then, like with Susan, she started to have problems, then it eased up a bit, and then they've just literally gone chronically
painful.
Displaced.
So it's so quick,
and you actually can see visibly the defect.
Yeah, which I'm not going to show because of where the area is.
Yeah,
it's too private.
Yeah. But you can see it now, whereas before you couldn't see it. But Susan thought as well it was growing pains.
Yeah.
And like she asked me if it's growing pains, and I said, well, I don't really know, because
it could be
it's a long time ago since I was that sort of age.
But also I was still a child.
Yeah.
With who was growing into like getting older, bigger, you know.
It's hard to tell because everybody's different.
But thinking about it, when I was like a teenager, that's when I realised, hang on a minute,
something was going.
Because growing pain shouldn't be chronic pain where you can't move, you can't do any school activities. Because I was in school and there were so many school activities, I had to be set out because I couldn't run because it hurt.
But one of your two accidents occurred when you was at school.
I had a trampoline accident,
and the school's fault because they forced you to do the trampolining.
Yeah.
They were supposed to have contacted us. They should have sent Susan to hospital.
The trampoline one, okay, yeah, fair enough. I walked out, so that's my fault. But I fell along the concrete because the school grounds were muddy, and I smashed my hip up so bad. And the one that's got the tear is the one that I actually hit on concrete that day.
Possibly the start of the damage as well.
Yeah.
But apparently the dysplasia is the one called is actually triggered the pincer deformity. You've just found out.
Yeah, and
having
the tear in there as it is, the longer I don't have it basically technically like sewn back
up.
Worse. Yeah, because you have to have it sewn back up. Sounds great. Literally, you need to be sewn back up.
That's why they can't do it locally. They've got to send her up to London.
Yeah, because there's actually more problems in there, and also because the guy, when I was at this other hospital where I was, my local hospital, he actually said to me, the reason why I'm sending you up as well is because like you're a young person. He said, I'm not calling you a kid, it's just you're a young adult, you need to make sure that everything is done correctly for your future life ahead of you. So they're actually really good because they're thinking about my future here, which is one thing I'm grateful for.
That's right.
And yeah, let's just see where the road ahead takes us now.
Yeah.
And
Once we've got that appointment, we'll know.
yeah, which we won't be able to give you an update straight away because it'd be too much of a smaller video
Yeah.
to talk about, but it will be in an
update it.
upcoming video after that maybe.
Yeah.
But just to give you a heads up, next week's video is going to be a little bit more happier than this week's video. But yeah, also I'm back to feeling a little bit more better compared to last week because I was so rough last week.
My throat was a bit croaky earlier.
You can still hear it even
Yeah.
now, to be honest. I don't know if you guys can hear it, but it is still a bit like it does hurt to talk. But other than that, we're going to leave it here with like the drama thing, and we don't want to make this video too much more depressing.
But life goes on.
Literally, as they say, life goes on. We
Yeah.
all move on. Life teaches us lessons.
Yeah.
And let's just see where it heads.
Yeah.
But other than that, we're gonna love you and leave you here, and we will see
see
you
you
next
on the
Sunday.
Video.
Mwah.
Take care.
Bye,
Bye.
guys.